You are about to enter the Red and Rev Sports Show experience. Get ready for some real sports talk from some real sports fans who were real sports athletes who have sports knowledge.
What's up, y'all? Episode 176. We back at it again. Another Saturday morning. Well. What's going on this week? We got the Super Bowl recap. That was a wild event. We got Tom Brady letting his hair down, just acting in ways we never seen him before. We got a lot of stuff we got the Super Bowl aftermath, starring J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and various other NFL characters. Oh boy, they can't even wait for free agency for everybody want to get a new address. We got COVID-19 striking college football once again. We got James Harden going all One Republic saying I apologize. We got that and plenty more going on. Plus, we had a summer week in my family this week. I want to dedicate episode 166 to my aunt who passed away, my aunt Jacqueline Huey. We dedicating this episode to you, Aunt Jackie. Miss you. We love you. Always will remember you forever. Well, episode 176, dedicated to my Aunt Jackie Huey. Let's get it on, fellas. No time to waste.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Red Rev Sports Show, coming to you live from the ATL. Y'all, give me real sports talk, because we are real sports fans who are real sports athletes who have what? Real sports knowledge. So come on. Hang out with your boys Red Rev and Coach for episode 176 of the Red and Rev Sports Show. And as is our custom, we'll go to our numerologist, Coach Patrick Thomas, to give us something or someone that's related to the number 1, 7, and 6. What you got for us, Coach?
This is a historical moment around this time. Back in 1976. Of course, you know, there was a man who came up out of nowhere. He was the owner of TV stations or whatever. And in 1976, he made one of the most influential buyings in sports history, at least for baseball. Because in 1976, around this time, Ted Turner purchased the Atlanta Braves and put them to prominence on the Superstation, as well as other things where some of us who didn't have many channels, we had the Superstation. And that is all thanks to one Ted Turner. We were able to see the Braves. So back in 1976, the number 1 and best owner of the Atlanta Braves, Ted Turner, paved the way for the Atlanta Braves to be known and seen nationwide. So we give props to Ted Turner.
All right. Coach gives us a billionaire Ted reference. You remember that's how they used to refer to him during WCW wrestling. Billionaire Ted. Billionaire Ted.
I appreciate Ted Turner and TBS. He kept me watching some good programs when I ain't had cable back in the day. Yeah, my Braves game.
Exactly.
They always give you a good movie. Especially during the weekend nights, he's always give you a good movie after the game go off, man. As a matter of fact, they wasn't even edited that much, Coach. They were edited some. Like, I remember watching 48 Hours on TBS. I mean, that was about as close to the original version as you could get. I mean, on edited TV.
Yeah, you got that right. And Rev, I don't want you to laugh when I say this, but Ted Turner brought TBS to Mississippi. We had a ball that made us fall in love with the Braves back in the days, because we didn't have that big channel like that. Made us fall in love supporting the Braves.
Well, that's really how the Braves became America's team, because that was before they were broadcasting Braves games, before ESPN and other national networks were broadcasting Major League Baseball games from other markets. So the Braves were everybody's home team, because if you had TBS, you had the Braves. They played every game on TBS, even when they were trash. Folks still watch the Braves. So, because I remember living in New York, powder blue uniforms. I remember living in New York as a little boy watching the Braves on TBS, because you had to have cable in New York to be able to watch the Braves. Because that's what messed me up when I moved here in 1989. Where TBS was a local station. I was used to it being on cable where I was in New York. So that was pretty interesting. But Billionaire Ted, as the NWO would call him in WCW wrestling, he really put Atlanta on the map, to be honest, and made Atlanta really a global city by launching CNN, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, Turner Classic Movies, and then putting the teams on putting especially the Braves. And really, the Braves haven't been the same in terms of spending money since he sold the team. Because that joker used to...
You had the Hawks on Channel 46 back in the day. Like I say, he gave Hawks games on TV too.
Yeah, that's when we knew that the owner was going to spend some money, when Ted Turner was the owner. Now these owners for the Braves and Hawks, they're just using these teams as tax write-offs. But nevertheless, we give it up to.
I'll give Tony Russell a little credit now, just until you prove otherwise.
Well, the jury's still out on him. He's still young in the game, in his time as the owner. So we'll see. He's starting off on the right note, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. Let me just say this:
if he's going to the luxury tax, I know he about that life.
Well, we'll definitely see. Good morning to everybody who's tuning in to the Red Rev Sports Show, episode 176. We want to say good morning to Miss Heather Joy, to Brother Joseph Black, our residential chef, Boy RD, and then thanks again to Sister Heather Joy doing a Super Bowl recipe last week. If you didn't see it, even though the Super Bowl is over, you can still make the chicken any time of the year. What's up, Shelby McDonald? And what's going on, Miss Harris and Shelby cheering on her Red and Rev Sports Show boo, Coach. Nice numerology, Coach. You know, Shelby is Coach's #1 fan. Armani, what's going on? Good morning. Shelby saying Braves has some trash team. Yeah, Bob Horner. Do you remember those, Shelby, when he had that 4 home run game? I remember that. I was living in New York when Bob Horner went deep 4 times in the game. I think it was against the Mets. What's up, Brother Vincent? Would your head turn and change the way we view television, period? Yeah, he was definitely a trendsetter. Kelly Nicole, hey, y'all. What's going on, Kelly Cal? And Shelby says, when you could go to Fulton County State with the $1 tickets and walk down and sit down behind the dugout. Yeah, no doubt. WWF wrestling was on TBS. Was it?
Yeah, for a minute. For a hot minute. Yeah,
really?
For a hot minute.
It was on USA.
Now, I remember it being on USA. Wow, I never knew that. You just taught me something. NWA wrestling was, WWF was on, if I remember that correct. I don't remember that, but okay. He had one good game. I could agree with that, Shelby. I could definitely agree with that. All right, everybody, we welcome you, and we want you all to chime in. Let us know that you're tuning in by posting, and we'll put up, if you want to be on the show at any point, we'll put it up and let somebody know what you can do to get on the show. Marcus Jones was going up. My cousin, when Dale Murphy was one of the most popular baseball players at that time. Yep. And that's interesting that Marcus points that out, because he was one of the most popular players, but still not in the Hall of Fame. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. That is they didn't even have an inductee this year. You know, I meant to talk about that back when it happened, about them not having an inductee this year. That Baseball Hall of Fame, I mean, it's a joke sometimes. I mean, they act like they so just high mighty. I mean, nobody's good enough to get in this year. I mean, who they think they are, man? There's plenty of great baseball players that they should not go a full year. They should not go a year that you don't have at least 1 or 2 or 3 inductees. I mean, I know they all trying to keep Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens out, but ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous that you couldn't find a few inductees to go in this year, in addition to the Derek Jeter class. I mean, these baseball writers, honestly, they just too old school for me. And you know what I'm talking about.
I got you. All right, gentlemen, let's roll into our first segment of the game, first segment of the show, rather. Think about the game. And then we're gonna introduce a new segment right after Dope Note Cope. You want to stay tuned. It's pretty dope. If I say so myself, it's courtesy of Coach. But let's go to our Dope Note Cope and Dope Note Hope. I've got my words all tied up. Dope Note Cope segment of the show. This is where we tell our best moments for the week, which we call dope. Our worst moment, we call nope, and things that we're trying to deal with, we call our cope moment that just don't make sense or make us cry sometimes. All right, Coach, what are you doping on, sir?
UConn guard Paige Buckers. She it was #1 against #2, Connecticut against South Carolina, and she had all the points in overtime plus points toward the end of the game to help UConn for a minute regain their #1 standing in women's college basketball when they beat South Carolina and Dawn Staley. So, and she, interestingly, is just a freshman, but she is balling. She the best player on UConn, so I'll go to Paige Buckers.
All right. That never heard of that name. Never thought I would hear that name on the show. But thank you, Coach, for sharing. All right.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
All right, Ray. What are you doping on, sir?
I'm doping on Tom Brady this week. Letting his hair down and just being a little open with himself, especially him going all weekend at Bernie's at the Bucks parade this week. I mean, Lord have mercy. I don't know, is that the Bucks security staff or Andrew McCarthy having to escort him out off the boat at the end? But that was just a great sight to see. One of the greatest NFL players of all time finally just letting go and just really enjoying his 7th Super Bowl championship. It's about time you get to enjoy one, Tom, because I guess with all those Belichick years, they was a little wound too tight. They was talking about how it was more of a relief than a celebration when they won. But this time we actually saw Tom celebrate. We'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about it a little more later. But that was just a good scene to see Tom Brady having some fun.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to dope on Coach Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, the defense coordinator for the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got his start as a defensive coordinator at my alma mater, Morehouse College, when Doug Williams was the head coach for 1 year at Morehouse. So I'm going to give my dope moment to Coach Todd Bowles, who got his coaching start at my alma mater.
Oh, Red, that's a shocker. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got to start at Morehouse, so I'm doping on that moment, even though I'm sad that my Chiefs lost. All right.
Hey, Rev, are you gonna try to be a guest this week when First Take come to Morehouse? Did you know they were going to Morehouse this week?
Yeah, I heard about it. I don't think I'll have the time, but I know Stephen A is doing his HBCU tour, so that's pretty dope in itself. But I probably won't be there. But that's pretty dope. All right, Red, it's on you. What are you noping about?
I don't know which way I want to go with this one. I'll go this way since we're gonna talk about the other one later. I'll go with LeBron breaking the turnover record. I mean, boy, Karl Malone was #1. Now LeBron broke the record. Lord, LeBron. You got to be careful with the ball, King. All those doggone turnovers, man. I know you play 17 years, you break plenty of records, but Lord, that's one record I'm sure he didn't really want on his resume. But you know, it all comes from him passing the ball, trying to get players involved. Whew, that's one record I'm sure he would have preferred Karl Malone keeping. So no for LeBron breaking the turnover record. That's the one. That I end it right there.
All right, and I have to agree with you, and I'm going to have to talk about that more when we talk about the Lakers a little bit later. My note moment, I'm noping on Andy Reid. Andy Reid basically didn't give his team a chance to win the Super Bowl right before the half. Why are you calling timeouts? Be content going into the half, down 8 points. But he goes and gives Tom Brady extra time, calling timeouts, and then what do the Bucks do? They go back and score a touchdown like they did the previous week, right before the half, or the previous 2 weeks, right before the half against Green Bay. Why would you do that? Be content being down 8 points. We'll talk about that more, but Andy Reid rolled the dice, and the dice exploded on him, and the game got out of control very quickly. I think that was a turning point in the game, and when he did that, my thought process was just like this soundbite.
You have got to be kidding.
You got to be kidding, man. I don't know why in the world he would do that. But nevertheless, I'm noping on Andy Reid. All right, Coach, what are you noping on?
I'm noping on what happened with Baltimore Ravens cornerback Jimmy Smith and his family, who got robbed at gunpoint out there in his hometown where he was. I'm like, he didn't even... Luckily, nobody was hurt. Nobody got anything happen to him. But I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, these things are happening too often to these pro athletes, even the ones who don't flash or show off anything. So, you know, I just thought it was unfortunate. But luckily, everybody was okay. But that's my note moment of the week. Jimmy Smith and his family getting robbed.
No!
All right. I'm coping. As we move to the cope moment, I'm coping on the fact that as long as Tom Brady plays, after he plays, we're going to hit a Brady Fest. How he's the greatest, the Slurp Fest. I mean, I've conceded to the fact that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not even going to argue that. My teammate from Morehouse made a good point when we say the GOAT. Is he the greatest football player of all time, or is he the greatest quarterback of all time, or is he the greatest champion of all time? I can go with champion. I can go with quarterback. I don't know if I can go with player, because LT was just somebody else who was a one-man wrecking crew. And I remember growing up as a young boy in New York, where he played for the New York Giants, and that joker was off the chain. But nevertheless, I have to cope with having to hear the Brady Fest all off season, as long as he continues to play. And then as long as I continue to live and there's football being played, we're going to always hear Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. So I feel like a person on Pac-Man once I get caught by a ghost. That's how I feel, man. All right, Coach, what are you coping on, man?
I'm going to cope with the impending, I don't know if you want to call it disaster or train wreck or party, that is the Pittsburgh Steelers salary cap free agency bonanza. Every time somebody comes up, they throw them at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and these fans bite on it like they're chewing on a Krispy Kreme donut. Please stop. I mean, the Steelers not going to get everybody. Every time you look up, somebody's linked to the Steelers. I'm like, we got to deal with this for the next month or so, 2 months coming up with the draft and everything. So I'm just coping on the free agency, cap salary, cap, HE double hockey sticks that is about to take place.
All right, we're going to have to ban Coach from talking about the Steelers. He going to find a way to talk about the Steelers. Goodness gracious. Now I see why he wanted to talk about NFL free agency, so he could talk about the Steelers. I'm like, man, we just finished the season. How we talking about?
If you hear some of the things that people are saying, is ridiculous. I just get sick of it on the Pittsburgh Steelers, this and all that.
You pay attention to all those blogs, and you on all those little sports groups, so you know that's why they keep those groups alive, just bringing out rumors and things of that nature. So you're going to hear it all the time. If they're not talking about it on ESPN.
One even had the most funny rumor of all. Russell Wilson of Pittsburgh. I said, oh, good night. Y'all have a nice night.
You got to stop. Coach, we're not going to allow you to bring these little fan blogs onto the show, man. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Red, what are you coping on before I cope on having to cut Coach's mic off like Vincent Woodruff just suggested? Go ahead.
Oh man, y'all crazy, man. I'm coping on, that the NFL players are finally taking notes from the NBA, and the NFL owners and general managers will have to be coping with. It's gonna be a lot of players opening up and speaking out now about where they want to play, and just not staying in bad situations because of contract issues, salary cap issues. If they won't out dog it, you're gonna have to listen if the player is good enough, I mean, we're gonna talk about it later, but like I say, it's just now we're approaching a new day in the NFL where top players can now make their own way. I mean, they just not gonna stay in bad situations. They taking these pages from these NBA players, and we're gonna see what the NFL do about it, because hey, you got to have your players. I know they love talking about that shield this and that shield that, and no players bigger than the team. Well, hey, some players are bigger than the teams, okay? It's not a lot of them, but we do have some that are big enough that they can demand their own way. So we're going to talk about it later. But NFL owners and GMs, Lord, y'all smiling big time. I wonder what somebody's saying. I ain't checked the notes out yet, but I'll check them out later. Okay, but that's what I'm coping on, that the NFL GMs need to prepare for a new day in the NFL. Good players demanding their own way. All right.
Shattering the mold. All right. Let's see what the fans are talking about real quickly.
Yeah.
Shelby do what needs to be done to keep Barry Bonds out. She's still talking about the Hall of Fame. Woodruff,
Oh, Lord.
baseball, the guys who may not have played the game and they're still butthurt that some of the great players wouldn't suck up to them and provide interviews. Yep. I remember when you, Mike, were at the old Braves. Yep. And they actually traded him like 2 or 3 weeks later. Yep, I remember that. We were sitting on the first baseline. We had just moved to Atlanta, matter of fact. And I was like, trade Dale Murphy. Trade Dale Murphy. Because I knew it was right. It's like this was 1990. And they went 1990. Why
were they trying to trade Murphy?
No, I was telling them they needed to trade Dale Murphy because he wasn't gonna do nothing for them.
Oh yeah.
So as soon as they traded him, they got those prospects and they went from worst to first the following year.
Yeah, you're right. I remember because I had no idea what was brewing in '91. All you heard about back in the day was Dale Murphy this, Dale Murphy that, but you knew the Braves were sorry. Then all of a sudden I'm in 5th grade and I hear guys talking about this guy named David Justice. And I was like, oh, for real? He that good? Who he play for? And they were like, the Braves. I was like, the Braves? The Braves kind of player like that good? Because all I heard was Dale Murphy. So I want to thank the Braves for listening to Rev, because 1991 was when I finally started paying attention to baseball, like in depth, like I do the rest of the sport. When my team actually started to be good. Yeah.
All right, Joe Black doping on Calvin Johnson going to the Hall of Fame. He's from Georgia.
Oh, God,
that was from Georgia Tech. Shelby, we're going to allow this dope moments. The black man, Eugene Goodman, gets a Congressional Gold Medal for his work during the insurrection on January 6th. Who would ever thought? We came to find out through the impeachment trial that man literally saved Mitt Romney's life. Mitt Romney was going down the senator of Utah. He was going down the wrong hallway. Eugene was like, and then Mitt Romney got his run on and saved his life. So big ups to Eugene Goodman. Vincent Woodruff said, Paige broke my Lady Gamecock hearts. That's my coat. Miss Harris doping on the King, taking over 3 games this week to ensure the Lakers wins. We'll get to that. Shelby's coping on Rev has to cope with everyone coming at him about his Chiefs. New team lost just like his old team. It's all good. But at least my new team got a Super Bowl. All right. Vincent doping posted Black Buck staff that executed the game plan of all games. Game plans to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was pretty dope. I forgot all. Dante doping on the same thing as Vincent Woodruff is doping on. A lot of people talk about diversity, but Arian's the only one that's about that life. Dante also the top 15 players on the TO list are Hall of Famers, though. I think it's a bad look record, but I don't think it's much of a big deal. Honestly, Vincent Woodruff is noping on the 40-year-old Gorilla Glue dummy that 15 minutes of fame. That's funny. Armani's doping on Tom Brady, the nobody 7th round pick that nobody wanted, wins 7th Super Bowl to solidify him as the greatest of all time. This proves future players that hard work and discipline will always outdo talent. Joe Black is noping on Chris Doyle, print coach for the Jaguars. We're coming to that. We're going to talk about that. Shelby is noping on Andy Reid and his goodness. Shelby, can we show a little compassion to the someone who has some stop hiring?
You asking Shelby for compassion.
Child, yeah, Shelby's a tough cookie, boy. If you don't want any chaser, if you don't want it to be soft spoken, don't talk to Shelby, boy. She comes at it. Vincent Woodruff is Shelby's a woman corner. Nepotism at its worst. Vincent Woodruff.
That explains a lot about Shelby.
Oh Lord, here we go. Now the fireworks have begun. Armani saying he's making no adjustments in the second half. That's a good note moment. Glad he's quit, but it makes me question Urban Meyer judgment. That's a good point, Joe. We're gonna come to that in just a moment.
Y'all killing all our future topics, man.
They're dictating the show. Coach Tom Brady, I don't see Atlanta winning that division as much as I respect Brady's greatness. I can't wait until he retired. Joe Black says watching the weekend at halftime.
The weekend.
So he obviously didn't care for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, he's more like the weekday.
Vince is giving critique. We're going to get to that in just a second. Vincent gave his full critique on what happened in the game.
I know. Y'all know we're going to talk about this stuff. Jeez.
Urban is going to have another heart attack soon. Joe Black coping, Ponce de Leon, Krispy Kreme catching on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of sports persons are going to that Krispy Kremes after a sporting event, that's for sure. Coping on going into football withdrawal. I got to go see my therapist on Monday.
Hey.
It's not that, Vince.
Yeah, like, that was my cope moment last week, Vince.
Yeah, this was what Vince said while Coach was talking about Steelers trying to make it a cope moment right there. And then are we going to ban Rev from talking about the Lakers? That's Shelby.
You talked about the Lakers, yeah?
Not yet. I think Dante said, I think every fan base wants every player available. That was when Coach was talking about the Steelers fans talking about every player available. Shelby said, this is her response when I talk about cutting off coaches. Still haven't cut Reds, Mike. I've been requesting you, but
I'm glad I got that shot in.
Boy, I tell you, boy, the love between Red and Shelby always shows it's strong each week. Unfortunately, Red only a certain type of player gonna get their wish. Amani, Vince, they couldn't run the ball. Let's see. Red tries to. Red has an algorithm blocking it, and then. Oh man, they're funny. They're funny. That's funny. David Justice was my first crush, I'm sure, along with many other young ATL women. We were in high school and middle school at the time, so I can see that, Shelby.
My first crush. Let me ask David Justice about that.
Oh Lord, Shelby, he's a drunk. I have no compassion for drunk driving. My dad was killed by. I see where your passion is for that. I can understand it. Shaw owns that Krispy Kreme. What Shaw is that? Oh, Shaq.
He meant Shaq.
Shaq.
Yeah, it'll be back up soon, and if he owns it, or he might be building a new one. You all be interested in knowing that the Senate just voted called witnesses in the.
Oh my God!
All right,
this is not a political show. What does this look like? CNN 101?
Well, they want to keep us informed because we are going on while the impeachment trial is going on. So
we know Trump gonna get impeached. Y'all been going crazy.
Well, he's already impeached. The matter is if he's going to be removed where he can never run for office again. The House already impeached him, so it's about being convicted and removed. That's what they're voting on right now. All right, let's move forward. This is a new segment. I'm going to remove Coach and Red off the set real quickly. So we got a new segment that we're going to do real quickly, and it's called Sports Meme of the Week. Sports Meme of the Week. Let me get to the Sports Meme of the Week. Tell us how you like it. Here it is. There's your Sports Meme of the Week. You want to keep Brady from winning another ring? Put him on the Dallas Cowboys. That's the sports meme of the week.
Here we go.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, man. That is hilarious. I thought that was pretty hilarious. And the fans think it's hilarious right there. So that's the sports meme of the week right there, ladies and gentlemen. Did y'all like that?
It was all right. That's the only one we're gonna see.
Yeah, just sports meme, not sports meme.
You won't get another one.
Just one.
It's
just
over.
one. Just one.
He put on that uniform. He is done. He'll be on his back most of the time.
They could have put a Falcons uniform on Brady. And that would have been the same thing.
Same thing. The way this thing is going, no doubt about it. All right, gentlemen, let's go on. I think the fans loved it, and this was for Red in your CNN comment from Miss Harris. She said, Red, I would not have you ignorant. Talking about wouldn't. You don't get it?
Yeah, I appreciate the news from you, Miss Harris. I'm talking about That was really close shit. I don't mind Miss Harris giving me the CNN info. That the shit, we don't need it from you. Still getting all emotional and theatrical and acting like
Oh, here we go. All right, here we
we're
go.
gonna keep it even kill. We don't need Shelby's emotion. We already had enough guys in Atlanta that have been turned off by him.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Super Bowl recap. Super Bowl recap. Red got saved. It's official. Red and I will be sharing in coach's dinner. We have to pay for our own. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to reschedule, gentlemen. I apologize. My mom has to get vaccinated, so I'm gonna have to reschedule. But today, it just set up today, so we got to get that vaccination. Yeah, so I have to
overtime. Y'all gonna have me back working overtime. So what we're gonna do next week?
We'll do it next week. We'll definitely do it next week. All right, Super Bowl recap. Red, you were the only one who chose the Buccaneers. We'll let you talk for a little bit. Tell us what you thought about the Super Bowl. Go with it.
I mean, what can we say? I mean, you already gave Todd Bowles a shout out. I mean, it was really, really impressive game plan for him. I mean, they unleashed the dogs on Pat Mahomes, and we found out that those offensive line injuries that the Chiefs had, that they eventually came back to bite them. I mean, they got past Cleveland and try to remember the AFC team that they played.
The Bills.
Who?
The Bills. The Bills.
Yeah, the Bills. They got past the Browns and the Bills with them, but getting past the Bucks was a whole different ball game. I mean, of course, I'm not gonna slurp Brady that much. He won a 7 Super Bowl. He did what he had to do. He was Tom Brady. Like I say, but it was more so the Chiefs were just, a disappointment. I mean, who would have, if I had thought about going out on the limb, who would have thought that the Chiefs would have scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl? 9 points to hold the Chiefs under the single digits in the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, he truly was the MVP, Todd Bowles, and I really hope that they don't do him like they do everybody in, because I think Todd Bowles definitely deserves a second chance in the head coaching department, and I think Byron Leftwich deserves a look at a head coaching position. I never thought I'd say that ever in my life. Byron Leftwich, a head coach, but yeah, he has definitely learned some things under Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians, I praise him for being the players coach that he is. It seemed like the Bucs players had a lot of fun doing this Super Bowl run, and that's what you want players to win, but also having fun winning at the same time. Like I posted earlier this week, I don't think Pat Mahomes is done. I do think the Chiefs will be back. It would definitely surprise me if he never makes it to the Super Bowl again. I think he has 2 Super Bowls in him and maybe 3 appearances. So I don't think Pat Mahomes is done. But boy, do the Chiefs, like I say, the Bucs definitely gave you a real game plan in addition to the game plan my Falcons gave them, 3 weeks prior to the season ended. But boy, Todd Bowles definitely gave the NFL a game plan on how to slow the Chiefs down. So much praise to Tampa Bay. They got the second Super Bowl win. They showed teams how to go all out for it. They went for it and they got it. So I got to give them props for that. Bruce Arians, the Bucs defense, Lord have mercy. They're not the 2002 Hall of Fame Bucs defense, but hey, they looking good. So much praise. Like I say, I mean, Tampa Bay, they took it to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs really had no answer for them. I mean, it was just a beat down from beginning to end. 31 points for the Bucs, 9 points for the Chiefs. Congratulations, Tampa Bay. You did it.
Coach, I'm going to pose this to you real quickly. I want to see if you agree with Vincent Woodruff's assessment of the game. He said earlier the Chiefs hardly ran the ball. They were sitting ducks anyhow. Bucs D-line were taking turns on that left tackle. Not sure if they could withstand that. On top of that, awful Chiefs secondary. Tyron is out there all alone. Would you agree with that assessment of what took place?
Well, yeah, early on, when Pat Mahomes is your leading rusher, that's sad. That's bad. You got Hilaire, you got Williams back there who was the Super Bowl MVP last year, and they don't get any touches. And they had Pat Mahomes forget his State Farm. He was looking for All-State because of the mayhem that was coming at him. Hey, he wasn't ready for that. And you know what? Somebody mentioned, and I just want to see how you all think about this. Do you think the Chiefs seemed like, and I don't know, it may be or may not, a bit overconfident coming in the game? like they could just score when they want to, and then when they got rattled and shook, it took that persona kind of and dropped it a little bit because they were a score minute offense. Holmes get on the field, he comes on smiling, pass, run, touchdown, and then it's back in the game. But they got kind of like you said, Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until you get hit in the mouth. But it was the future delayed. That's all. Pat Mahomes is the future, just got delayed for a game.
That's what happened, Cole. I seem to notice something when the Chiefs get hit in the mouth. They seem to like go into the shambles, especially Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is really proven to be not that tough mentally because it seemed like early on when the Chiefs were down, he just like completely got out of the game. You got fellas got to coach him up on the sideline and talk to him. So I'm my bad. I know it's your turn, but yeah. They gotta get their mental game up, man. Especially you, Tyreek Hill. Dude, a few adversities and you are already out of the game.
Well,
I remind me of another receiver.
Well, I think this when to coach's point, I don't think they were overconfident. When I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes, I actually think that he understood what was about to go down. Because I think he understood because I look at when they went down to the Bills. And I saw how he picked McCole Hardman up, and McCole Hardman made that bad play. He had a fumble. He was like, we're going to get it back. We're going to get it back. And I did not see that same swag that Patrick Mahomes normally has when they got down. So when I saw that, I think he understood that they were not going to be able to score as efficiently and effectively as they normally would against other teams once they saw those tackles. He knew those tackles were gone, and he knew that was not the type of team that needed that they could score points on without having their two tackles playing. And the other thing is, was it, and I don't want to throw shade at my guy, Red. Chill, man. All right, chill. All right, I don't know what you doing over there, man. Calm down. All right. But I don't know. Was Todd Bowles' game plan that great? I would say no, it wasn't that great because this is why I'll say it. They were able to get pressure with 4. It wasn't like he was throwing all these exotic blitz. They were getting, by their front 4 was getting all the pressure that they needed. That's not revolutionary when they got 2 bad tackles. So, was Todd Bowles' game plan that great? If you can get pressure with the front 4. I'll ask somebody to answer that question.
Was the game plan great?
When you can get pressure on the team's front 4, just like when the Giants beat the Patriots both times at the Super Bowl.
That makes the game plan easy.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. That's my point. So I don't know if he just schemed them to death. They just were able to get pressure.
I think folks were shocked that he was able to get pressure from folks because a lot of teams always try that. They try to rush forward Pat Mahomes and eat him alive. So
but hold tight. It's not shocking when you got your two starting tackles out. It's not like they were at full strength.
Not really, but like I said, I guess they saw Pat Mahomes escape. I mean, get past the Bucks and the Browns, and we talking about Pat Mahomes. We ain't never really seen him not exceed adversity. So this was the first time we really saw him, in a real adverse situation and not come through. I hear what you're saying, but injuries, players not being there, Pat Mahomes has survived it all. And I guess a lot of teams were expecting the same thing last Sunday. And this was the one time that, hey, he just couldn't do it. I mean, the Bucks rushed 4 and sat the other 7 back there, and it was open up shop, baby. We coming for you, Pat, man. Hey, I was shocked myself. I mean, 9 points, I would have never thought. Nobody thought the Chiefs were going to score 9 points. They never thought the Chiefs were just going to score under double digits. I mean, folks were talking about the Bucks would have had to put up 30, 40, I mean, they only had to put up 31. I mean, if you had asked me what the Chiefs scored 25 on, I would have been shocked. So, like I say, you got to give Todd Bowles some credit because whatever he did, he kept the Chiefs, the #1 offense for the past 3 years, out the end zone. That's coaching, baby.
Well, I don't know. That's the front four.
That's coaching and the players executing.
Well, okay, I go along with that, but it's easy to execute if you killing scrubs on the offensive line.
Look, Rev, you're right. But when you can rush, when any team can rush 4 and drop 7 back, especially on a team that passes like the Chiefs, it's gonna be a great day in the neighborhood.
Now, here's where I give Dante makes a good point. Andy Reid did not make an adjustment. So if you see that your tackles are getting blown up, you got to take a receiver 2 off the field and put another tight end there. And they got to play some more big-time football, giving those tackles some extra help, putting some tight ends on the field. And that's where Andy Reid messed up, not making that adjustment, letting those tackles get killed the whole game.
You think he should have tried to run the ball a little more?
If you're going to put an extra tight end or 2 on the field, yes. You weren't going to run the ball trying to go 3 and 4 wide. That wasn't going to happen when you got these weak tackles.
No way.
So they would have.
Guess what?
What?
Guess what though?
We listening?
Mahomes, even though he was still pressured, Kansas City has some uncharacteristic drops too now. There's some guys dropping ball. Kelsey get hit in the hand, drop. Pass Mahomes threw off his ankle, look like in the end zone.
Yeah.
Hit you in the face mask, drop. I mean, I don't know if the receivers were shook too. I mean, you shook them up too. I mean, he still was making throws, even though he looked like I date myself. Go back to the old cartoon, the Plastic Man and Stretch Armstrong out there slinging the ball everywhere. You know he's about to go down. And those guys seem like almost like, I ain't gonna say gave up, but almost like disinterested. I mean, dropping balls that usually they make play, they usually get open. And like you said, Rev, like Dante said, Todd Bowles looked and said, okay, they got 2 weak offensive tackles. I'm finna destroy them. Them inexperienced tackles, they ain't got a chance against what I'm about to do. And that's basically what happened. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. He did what he's supposed to do. So his game plan wasn't spectacular. It was just smart.
Yeah. I mean, if they're gonna keep giving you the same look, you already know you got them. That was like playing a game of Madden when the computer doesn't make the adjustment. You know, you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're gonna get the same result.
Had that receiver caught that ball in the end zone, that Pat Mahomes was going down to the ground and threw, had that receiver caught that probably would have been one of the greatest touchdown passes ever. That was close to being David Tyree. You know the play I'm talking about, Coach, when he went down to the ground and Buddy dropped it in the end zone. Yeah. That if he had caught that one, that probably would have been one of the greatest plays ever, because Mahomes was basically on the ground when he threw it. And the fact that he got it to the end zone. So like I say, I'm not worried about Pat Man. Pat Man can make plays. You're right, his plays receive his playmakers, his skill players didn't make the plays, didn't make too many plays for him. I know it was some big plays to make, but still, we've been watching them pull those plays out the last few years, and then nothing happened last Sunday that we've been seeing that happened to the Chiefs over the past previous games. That was the one game didn't anything happen the Chiefs' way. So
yeah, and I have to agree with Vince and what he just talked about, where Bowles was surprised that Andy Reid didn't make any adjustments. All right, now we've been talking about quarterback and Mahomes getting rushed and pressed out of the pocket, and we know that's what happens to Russell Wilson at times, and we know that Russell Wilson is at odds with the Seattle Seahawks. So I want to get your opinion. Do you all foresee Russell Wilson getting out of Seattle? Red, you're smiling. We'll start with you, sir. Go with it. I think I know where you're going with your smile, but go with it. Go talk about Russell Wilson being at odds with Seattle. Go with it.
Okay. First of all, you said Russell Wilson is at odds with Seattle.
I know it. I know where you were going. Tell us about his wife. Go ahead.
Well, it's the truth because I think Russell Wilson and Seattle can work their problems out if they really came down, sat down at the table, and have a long, lengthy discussion. I think somebody else in the Wilson household is at odds or has a problem with Seattle, and unfortunately, that's gonna force Russell Wilson out of Seattle because he been running his mouth. Well, somebody else been running their mouth this week, and their words have been coming out of Russell Wilson's mouth. And so much to where he's alienated some people Dave alienated some people in the Seattle front office right now. And now, man, this has become an intriguing story because I can't wait to see if Russell Wilson's plan works. But I definitely know that somebody don't want to be in Seattle anymore. They tried it. And they ready to get back to a much bigger market. But and hey, if Russell Wilson gotta come up with these silly stories about his offensive line not being up to par, hey, whatever story you gotta make up, Russell, to make who happy, I am so down with you, baby. I understand because happy wife, happy life. And we all know you like to have a happy life with your laid back, quiet self. So look, we all know Russ is soft-spoken. Any issue he had with Pete Carroll or his front office, he can work out himself. But it seems like members of Russell Wilson family have grown weary of the northwestern part of the country, and they ready to get back into more bigger markets. So I'm intrigued to see how this story ends. I personally think it could be worked out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Wilson family with the new address soon.
All right, Coach. Are you going with the Sierra take that Red has gone with Russell Wilson wanting out, basically saying he's just echoing what his wife is saying behind closed doors? Do you believe that, Coach?
Not really. I don't. But the thing about it is, like I saw some people say, and I agree, his skill set may cause, like Vincent said, cause a lot of hits. But his line, before they let Russell Wilson leave Seattle, they will upgrade that line to the fullest. They're not going to let him walk. And just like someone mentioned, look at the team in his division they keep talking about. Rams don't need a quarterback. Arizona don't need a quarterback. And Pete Carroll is not dumb to be able to want to send Russell Wilson to San Francisco to beat him every year. So he's going to do what he can to keep Russell Wilson there forever and for a long time. And they're going to upgrade the line and get him some help on that line, or, they're going to do everything they can because he does take some hits, and he took a lot this year for, and it ain't been going. So they'll upgrade the line before they let him walk to another team and beat them every year. That's not going to happen.
Then what other part of the team is going to suffer? Because remember, it was just a year ago where Russell went to social media while he was in bed with Sierra. Hey, Seattle, I'm coming back. That's when he signed that extension. And we know here in Atlanta, when Matt Ryan signed that extension, they had to fill the lineup with some rookies. They used 2 first-round draft picks on rookies to put somebody on the line. So with Russell Wilson making all that money, can they just upgrade the line so quickly?
You look at the draft. Look at the draft this year. It's a lineman draft this year, so they may have to suffer and get some young people again, get rookies. But this is a lineman's draft this year. You can get a lot of good picks in the later rounds, like 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. So that may be the route they have to go, unless in the free agency, which seems like a lot of people on the move, they can find a good offensive tackle that may want to look at somewhere else. But like I said, Pete Carroll has been winning, and he is no fool. He's going to do everything he can to make Russell Wilson stay in Seattle until he retires or until Russell Wilson retires. So he's not going to let that man get out of there no matter what Russell says. And I know Russell just want to let himself out in the media and talk. He said that on Dan Patrick's show. But deep down, They're doing everything they can to keep him. They're not going to let him leave Seattle. Who's the quarterback after Russell Wilson? Nobody in the world can name the backup quarterback in Seattle.
Actually, it's the black guy. What's his name?
Who is that?
From West Virginia, who was the quarterback with the Jets, got punched in the mouth.
Geno Smith?
Geno Smith, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Please.
Look, like I said, y'all, I don't think this had anything to do with Pete Carroll. I think Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are cool. I'm not even sure this has anything to do with the offensive line. The offensive line, like I say, like somebody said, Russell Wilson is a mobile quarterback. Okay. And if you do have issues with the offensive line, like Coach said, they can fix that easily. They can draft whoever they need to draft to make Russell happy. This ain't got nothing to do with Russell. This is all one person and one person only bringing any of this to the forefront. And if they decide that they want to be in Seattle, if they decide that Seattle is the place for them, then Russell Wilson will be there. If they decide that they ain't trying to be in Seattle no more, this story gonna pick up more fire and more fire and more fire until one person is happy. Because if that person ain't happy, you can bring up Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, offensive line, DK Metcalf. If one person ain't happy, this entire story gonna stay afloat until they become happy. So I'm just trying to tell you, this is not a football story, y'all. This is the domestic story right here.
Well, unfortunately, Sierra's going to lose this domestic because the owner of Seattle ain't going to let no wife dictate what goes on in his football program.
I hope not.
That'd be foolish. So Russ, I saw a report where Russ said the worst thing that could ever happen to him is losing Sierra. So
thank you.
Yeah. So I did see that report. I forgot what publication reported that. So I kind of lean towards Red talking about it's more about Sierra being in his head because ain't much going on musically in Seattle. You know, she wants to
offensive line, Russell Wilson. Man, come on, that's like the weakest move you could. I'd rather Russell just came out and said, I'm thinking about my family or something like that. But to try to throw your offensive line under the bus, now you got to make them happy when you go back in the locker room because
Joe Black said it best. You got to pick a struggle. Either take less money and be protected or take all the money and the team suffer. And that's really, when you're in a hard salary cap league, that's the decision that these quarterbacks have to make. That's why I can't stand hearing that stuff when people talk about Matt Ryan doesn't have any offensive line. Did he think about that when he signed $30 million? Did he think about that he's slow of foot? Did he think about he doesn't have a strong arm? No, he didn't think any about that. He thought about getting paid. And he didn't think about the rest of the team. He didn't think about how he can't offset the struggles of the team. So this is what happens. And Russell Wilson is experiencing. Russell Wilson ought to be glad that he's in that talk amongst the elite quarterbacks because the reality is the defense set him up when they were doing all the big-time winning. He was more of a game manager when he first came to the team. It was the Legion of Boom that really set him up to be able to get to the point where people are talking about him. Now, bro, you got that money. The defense could no longer be the Legion of Boom anymore. It's all on you. Now, you got to make it work. And they gave you the ball. You want to talk about you want to sling it around, and you knew the offensive line that you dealt with when you signed that contract, so now you got to deal with it. So if you don't have the offset, what the team doesn't have, bro, it's on you. All right?
Why you making videos telling Seattle you back, and you got permission from your wife to make that video? You would have never did that video unless she gave you permission to post that last year. So whatever, Russ, man. Just be honest and say that your girl tired of living in Seattle and she can't get no gigs up in the Seattle area. Your wife is an entertainer and she ain't been able to entertain because she living under your shadow who ain't won no Super Bowls in about 6 years. So sorry, that ain't what Sierra signed up for, and that ain't what's gonna happen.
Man, I wish I kept that meme. That show. I think did you post that, Red, about his record with his first wife versus his record with his second wife in playoffs? Did you post that?
I think I did. I did.
Yeah. He's under 500 with Sierra. He was over 500 with his first wife. white. But nevertheless, we'll move on real quickly. Thank you so much, Alexis. Appreciate you. Miss Jackie Powell from the ATL. Glad that you're watching. Thank you so much.
I'm saying for real. Remember, like look at the Super Bowl last week when Sierra and Russell was up in the press box. Who was doing most of the talking? It wasn't Russell. Sierra was doing most of the talking up and get there. Yeah, Russell just sitting there all soft spoken watching the game while Sierra, all by the fact, Sierra should have been sitting in Russell's seat and Russell should have been sitting on the outside. But hey, Russell, we all know what's going on, buddy. All I gotta say is I hope you're happy, man.
All right, Kelly, the musician of the Red Rev Sports Show, the great orchestra teacher at David T. Howard Middle School here in the ATL, said, we don't even know if she still wants to record. If she does, she's going to have to fly some producers out or she's going to have to travel, do something. Sierra's going to wind up being yesterday's news. Support your man, make do in the rainy. I don't know, man. She put something on Russ, boy. I don't know. Russ might retire before he let go of Sierra. I don't know.
Now, Vince, you know she's not gonna be happy just being Russell Wilson's wife now. So that's the type of woman she is. She got front and center.
Shelby said Russell couldn't breathe with them tight pants. Oh man. All right. Here we go. All right, that was a good segment. Let's shift gears real quickly, and y'all already jumped the gun on this one. Urban Meyer's questionable hire. He hires Chris Doyle, who's under a lot of scrutiny for racist remarks while he was the strength and conditioning coach at the University of Iowa. Somehow, Urban Meyer thought it was a good idea to hire Chris Doyle. Some of the fans have already shared how they felt. I know, Red, you talked about how it was a good move by Chris Doyle to resign on your Facebook page. You can go ahead on and talk about how you feel about this questionable hire that ultimately led to Chris Doyle resigning on last night.
Well, I heard someone say that it doesn't look good for Urban Meyer. You're right. Dude, you're coming into the NFL after being out of football for a few years. You've been doing analyst work with Fox Sports. You know the climate that we live in now. We're living under a climate that's trying to do right, especially with race relations. And this is the hire you make, man. You're going to hire a coach who's known for saying, I'm going to send you back to the ghetto. Dude, that is just not the deal. I'm glad Chris Doyle did the right thing and resigned. But Urban Meyer, dude, you got your head up in the clouds, man. And I don't think you're gonna have another heart attack like Shelley said. But dude, you definitely are not in tune with what's going on in today's climate that you made a hire like that. Now, obviously, he saved your butt by resigning, because I'm telling you, I don't think a lot of your players would have been on board with this guy. I mean, you're dealing with professional men, not little boys, not young adolescents, not young, impressionable adults that you have on the college scene. You are dealing with grown men in the NFL, and they are not going to take a coach that has been disrespectful to them and disrespectful to their kind in their organization. So sorry, Urban Meyer, you're starting off bad. I hope you get Trevor Lawrence, and maybe he can redeem you with some of these moves. And then talking about you got a 20-year relationship with that guy. Who cares about your 20-year relationship with Chris Doyle? We talking about semantics. We talking about the public perception, and you talking about your 20-year relationship. Of course, he's not gonna talk that way to you, fool. So what are you talking about your 20-year relationship with this guy? It means nothing, and it meant nothing. Like I say, his resignation saved you, Urban Meyer, because you were going to face a lot more questions and a lot more ridicule had you kept this guy, had he remained on your staff. But anyway, that's my thought on it. He did the right thing by resigning. Urban did the wrong thing by hiring him. And if those are the type of moves he's going to make, I don't see this Urban Meyer and Jacksonville Jaguars thing lasting as long as we think it is. Hopefully they'll draft Trevor Lawrence to where no matter what coach they have, he can make it happen, make it work. But Urban Meyer, I don't see you lasting long making moves like this. And then the explanations you give him for making them. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, and it goes to Alexis' point. What does it say about Urban Meyer's character? And Shelby brings up a point. Why is it that Urban Meyer can't hire people without character issues? Zach Smith and Chris Doyle, and I think Vincent Woodruff was the first person to make reference to it. Doyle was en route to being Urban Zach Smith 2.0. Yeah, that's the thing. Can we question this for you, Coach? Can we truly begin to strongly question Urban Meyer's decision making and also lack of character, where he keeps on hiring the Zach Smiths of the world, the Chris Doyle? We know Zach Smith was guilty of having committed domestic violence towards his wife, and that ultimately was the reason why Urban Meyer was pushed out of Ohio State. They dressed it up nicely, but they knew he had to leave, and they gave him a little quasi suspension and then said he retired. That was just to save face because he was beloved at the Ohio State University, and he was forced to retire because they could not continue to keep him at the Ohio State University, especially with him knowing what he knew about Zach Smith, and did not fire him. So that's why he's out of Ohio State. And then during his first off season as a Jacksonville Jaguar coach, he hires a guy who has a stain and checkered past just recently. Like this happened 15 years ago. This just happened this past June in Iowa. So, Coach, should we question Urban Myers? I don't know if you're making phone love over there. Your head is down quite a bit over there. I don't know. But are you with us?
Simple as this. Yeah, everybody's looking at the Doyle hire, but does anybody know who the assistant coach is?
Who is it?
Charlie Strong,
right?
So
what about it?
Urban he made an ignorant decision with the Doyle hire, but he had made I don't know how the Charlie Strong hired assistant coach went kind of under the radar a lot, but I guess because ignorance makes more news than common sense, I guess. So yeah, I looked at I saw Charlie Strong as his assistant coach, and I'm like, a head coach, and I said, do I give Urban Meyer a slight pass for that? But then the fact that he kind of wanted to push Doyle to be a coach, and like I said, the actual hiring, if he had actually tried to help Doyle continue to stay, then that says a lot. I always question Urban Meyer's decision. Everybody talk about, Urban Meyer, he's coming to Jacksonville to do this and do that. But I never have seen where he's not above winning. And he doesn't care about profiles or personalities or what you did. His only thing is about winning. So he'll sacrifice decency for winning, in my opinion.
Coach, I got a question. You brought up Charlie Strong for what purpose?
The fact that just a caveat to Joe on the other side of people talking about how Doyle was a questionable hire, and then I look at him actually taking Charlie Strong, who's been through the coaching, carousel, ringer, a black man to be his assistant head coach. I was like,
now, are you touting the hire of Charlie Strong because he's black, or because he's been a successful coach?
I would say because he's black.
Okay, because I can't really say if that's a great hire or not, because Charlie Strong has been fired from his last 2 jobs in college. And
I know.
I don't know if he's had a history of being a great or a highly respectable NFL coach on any level for any component of the NFL game. So, I see, that's commendable to hire a black guy as assistant coach, but, we could ask the question, what has Charlie Strong done to warrant being the assistant head coach? And, we can say that about a lot of white folk too, who get opportunities. I get that. So, are you saying it to the point where, he hires this questionable guy when it comes to race right here with Doyle, but then he hires this black coach to be his assistant coach? So are you saying, does that kind of somewhat offset the situation?
That's what I thought he was going with it.
No, it's just the fact that I'm looking at it, and I was just basically looking at one got more pub than the other. Charlie Strong, like I said, he hadn't done anything, but the fact that he would hire, and I'm looking at his coaching staff right now, and it's mostly what's the word I'm looking for? I say college coaches and cast-offs. I guess they're trying to put in there Brian Schottenheimer, Darrell Bevel, those kind of guys coming in. And I don't see anybody. Yeah.
Brian,
I don't see anybody.
He's dealing with the offensive.
Schottenheimer is a passing game coordinator. I didn't know they had such a thing, but I guess you put everybody on your staff. Passing game coordinator. You throw a title out there.
How is Marty Schottenheimer's son, when they both share the same philosophies? Rest in peace to Marty Schottenheimer. How is his son gonna be the coach? Does that sound crazy to you? A Schottenheimer gonna be the passing game coordinator?
As I'm looking at this staff, I'm questioning Urban Meyer's ability to assemble an NFL staff all around.
And Darrell Bevel, what is he doing?
I'm looking at Charlie Strong, who hasn't had much success. Great as a black man. Brian Schottenheimer just got ousted out of Seattle. Russell Wilson didn't want him anymore. Then you hired this questionable coach and Chris Doyle. We got to really start questioning Urban Meyer's judgment. But, right now he gets a pass because of his college success, because everywhere that he went, they were a contender. And then he won championships at Florida, and then he won a championship at the Ohio State. So, therefore, he gets a pass. But if this thing goes bad, like Shelby said, he's going to have a heart attack.
I mean, look at some of these names, though. This is ridiculous.
He got 2 Seattle rejects. He got Darrell Bevel and Schottenheimer. Those both got fired by Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
but some of these positions are crazy, though. Special teams coach.
Yeah,
Armstrong.
Huh?
I mean, defensive quality control coach. What kind? They
make a position for their friends. Let's shift real quickly. Let's move on. Hold on. Let's move on. One last topic of football, and then we'll move on to halftime. J.J. Watt's out in H-Town. What are your thoughts? Coach, I'm going to start with you because I know you may have been hearing the rumors that he may want to go to Pittsburgh to play with his little brother. So what are your thoughts about J.J. first? Wanting out of H-Town, they mutually parted ways, and where do you think he goes from there?
Just like with his frustration just kept building year after year when the Houston organization never seemed like they addressed the situation with trying to get players in there to help them win. It seemed like they were just spending money on certain things, and they wasn't helping, so JJ wanted out. Now, they keep saying Pittsburgh is one of the top choices. And, of course, Pittsburgh, with Mark Townsend retiring and Vance McDonald leaving, that frees up some money. But I'm going to tell you a place that they talking about that, may be pulling up into the top spot, and that's the Green Bay Packers because he's at home. They looking for a defensive a leader on that defense. Because nobody talks about it. Putting him on that front line with those guys, that could help them. Now, him going to Pittsburgh, I welcome it, but salary cap situation, it depends on how much a pay cut he wants. But he did say, and I quote, J.J. Watt said, I want to go to win a Super Bowl. He said, that's the only teams I'm going with. Teams they want to go win a Super Bowl, and he mentioned Buffalo. He even said Tampa Bay, which would be very scary if he went to Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and then I don't know how Dallas got in there, just because they're in Texas. I guess they just snuck in there. But it's going to be interesting to see who can offer him what he wants. And he said though, pay is not as important as him winning.
Real quickly, and I'm going to pose this point that Alexis Hill just made to Red. Real quickly to you, Coach. I heard this rumor mill that if the Steelers were to go after J.J. Watts, then that means they are willing to part ways with Bud Dupree. How you feel about that?
Wait, say that again, Rev.
Mixed.
If the Steelers go after J.J. Watts, that means
Uh-huh.
they're willing to part ways with Bud Dupree.
Oh, okay. Coach.
Yeah, that's mixed. I mean, J.J. Watt is 32. Bud Dupree is in his 20s, and Bud Dupree has shown that he can do the job very well. If I had to sacrifice Dupree for Watt, I would say no. No, sir. Sign Dupree, younger, quicker, faster. J.J. Watt played his first season this year in a long time, 16 games without getting hurt. So, hey, I don't want to take that chance. I know Dupree coming off ACL, but still, you're looking at a 32-year-old J.J. Watt who can still play, but I'm not sacrificing Dupree.
All right, Red, you already addressed in chat what I was going to ask you because I see you just attacked Alexis Hill with his saying that the Falcons need to get him for a couple of picks, and there's your response, are you crazy? So I'm not even going to ask you that question that I was going to ask Alexis because you clearly already addressed it in the chat. But where do you think that J.J. Watts may wind up going after being released from Houston?
Well, first of all, I want to commend J.J. Watts and the Texans for having a respectable release. They're not taking him through the same ringers that they taking the brother of Deshaun Watson. But anyway, he's a free man now, and I don't blame him. But I think Coach made some excellent points when he said a team that I wasn't initially thinking about. I like him going to Green Bay Packers because first of all, these little delusional Falcon fans, dude. First of all, Alexis, with all due respect, Falcon give up 2 draft picks for J.J. Watt, and I want Terry Fulton on fire. Okay, he is not worth no 2 draft picks at no 31 years old. Okay, no draft picks, nothing either. He coming here on his own free will under a league minimum contract. Oh, we ain't taking him. Okay, and when I say league minimum, I mean something that's not gonna kill our salary cap at all. Okay, but I don't see that happening because he's still young and he still want to get paid a little bit. So Green Bay, I would definitely look into going after him. I mean, you're still gonna have Aaron Rodgers. You're still gonna be in championship mode next year. That would be an addition to that young defensive line you got to mix in with those young guys. Tampa Bay would definitely be a good place for him. I mean, you talking about you want to get a ring, that's definitely going all in down there because I'm not sure they're gonna be able to bring Sue back. Shaq Barrett is a free agent. They might be missing a piece or two on that line. And even if they weren't missing a piece or two, adding you to what they have would definitely pretty much ensure that Tampa Bay gonna be a Super Bowl contender next year. Another team that I like, the Tennessee Titans. I like that move because him and Vrabel have a good relationship. That'll be a good move to help that young, inexperienced, and inconsistent defensive line that they have over there. So those are my 3 teams right there. Those are my top 3. Tennessee, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave it you all's commentary as the word on where J.J. Watts may wind up. I don't really care too much because I think he's about washed up.
He ain't
good.
coming here. KC might they might need to look at him too.
I don't know if they're going to have the salary cap room if he wants to make a little money because that Mahomes contract kicks in next year. So
yeah, that's right.
They may not have that extra money, but nevertheless,
they be paying nobody soon.
Nevertheless, we talked great football. We're going to shift gears to basketball. It's halftime of the Red Rev Sports Show. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with your boys. Red Rev, coach, we got one more half to go. So we got some basketball we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little black college football just for a little bit before we talk some basketball. So hang out with your boys, Coach, Red, and Rev. For some more Red and Rev Sports Show after halftime. right, we're back after halftime of the Red Rev Sports Show. I must admit, I miss our Red Rev Sports Show comedian this week. We haven't had any jokes from Thomas Holcomb this week. So, we didn't get a report from Tallapoosa, Georgia, whatever event he was attending this week. So I kind of
Tallapoosa.
He must be at the hamster road race in Albany, Georgia this week or something.
Tallapoosa.
Man, we miss it. Here it is. Joe Black said JJ's going to go play with his brother. I'm sure Coach would like that. Vincent Walker says Chiefs not wasting money on that dude. I totally agree. They don't have money. All right, gentlemen. You know what time it is. We're going to talk some. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to talk a little black college football, which we know.
Really got a little too excited, didn't you? Thought it was basketball.
It was a little basketball, yeah, but we're going to hold off on that. So it's interesting. We got the two black college conferences, D1 conferences, the MEAC, which is more so in the Northeast, where they did have schools all the way down to Florida, but FAMU and Bethune-Cookman are leaving the MEAC to go to the SWAC to play with the likes of Southern, Jackson State, Mississippi State, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. So we see that the MEAC has suspended its season. Every team but 3 teams. It was Howard, I want to say North Carolina Central, and North Carolina A&T. They were the only 3 teams that did not suspend or want their season to be suspended, but the MEAC has suspended their spring football season, whereas the SWAC, they only had one school to opt out, and that was Alcorn. Alcorn was the only school to opt out of the SWAC, and now the SWAC, because a large part, and I'm sure Kelly would love this, because of Deion Sanders, the Deion Sanders factor, they are getting a lot of their games to be played on ESPN networks for their spring season. So, Coach, I'm going to start with you since you are a SWAC graduate, having graduated from Mississippi State, even though Mississippi Valley State hadn't been relevant since Jerry Rice graduated. Nevertheless, we'll
That's a long time.
a long time ago. You went to school
graduated.
Yeah, you were at the school at that time. Last time Valley was relevant, but nevertheless, what do you think about the two black conferences of D1 football handling COVID in such a different way?
Basically, it's a joke. They need to cancel everything. There need to be no games in February, March, April. All this stuff needs to be canceled. You're not getting any money out of it. You're losing money big time. You're losing money. Yeah, they may be on ESPN, but you're still losing money because you're not going to have any fans, one. Then you talk, well, they say they're going to sell tickets. Who you going to have, about 2,000 people? Then you're going to look at the band from the other team that visits can't come. That's what a lot of the games are about, the bands. You know, a lot of people want to see the bands at halftime. And it's not a moneymaker, in my opinion. And then you take the chance on you got a kid that may get injured. Then you come to the real season in the fall. I meant spring for this season. I meant play the fall. Then you go into the fall, and next thing you know, that kid can't play when the real season should be played, and now you got an issue. I mean, it makes sense to have practices and everything, but to have games, when you start losing this money big time from these games that don't mean anything, and the game's going to be on ESPN 3. ESPN 3, not ESPN regular ESPN, not ESPN 2, ESPN 3, which half of America doesn't even get. So I think it's all a waste of time. That's just my personal opinion. Cancel the whole season.
Red, do you have a dog in this fight? Do you think one way or the other?
No, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't really cheer for too many MEAC and SWAC teams, even though I appreciate the African American heritage and culture that's behind most of the teams. And I agree with Coach, man. If you're not gonna have the halftime show with the bands and stuff, that's the number one tradition of watching MEAC and I mean, HBCU teams. And if I turn on ESPN and see an HBCU game and I don't see that special halftime show that most of us guys love to look at when the HBCU teams are on, then I'm gonna be very, very disappointed. So if they're not gonna have the big time halftime show, then yeah, I'm with Coach. That's taking a big part of their games out. Now they will be exposed a little bit. Some of the players will have some additional exposure playing on ESPN. Lord have mercy. ESPN 3, Lord, that's worse than Lethal Weapon 3 and The Godfather 3. I mean, Part 3 is always the worst one. I mean, Lord have mercy. ESPN 1 or 2, I'd be okay with it, but ESPN 3, I forgot it was an ESPN 3. So, and you're right, Rev, maybe Dion has a little something to do with this, but they're not going to be on ESPN and ESPN 2. So they're not going to be really exposed that much. And it's starting to look like, unless you're just a diehard football fan, you even gonna be interested in watching this spring football season. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I want it to work out for the HBCU schools because I do want a lot of their players to get additional exposure, because I hated that when it comes draft time, most of the players that they're looking at are from just the D1 schools and the schools we see on TV all the time, and I'm sure we got a lot of black players that's playing at these HBCU schools that would love that additional exposure to help their draft stock out come draft time. So for that reason alone, I like that they're being exposed. But you're on ESPN 3. Lord, ESPN 3, man. I'd rather look at Weekend at Bernie's 3 than have my team on ESPN 3. That's just, I mean, come on, man. ESPN 3, that's like Free Willy 3. That's like Home Alone 3. That's like, I mean, dog, put these schools on a real network so they can get real national exposure. I mean, ESPN 3, you might as well have them on pay-per-view.
I'm going to take issue with what both of you all said on one end. And I'm split on this. I think what Coach said in terms of it's a waste of money, I would say that's for the MEAC more so than the SWAC. The MEAC is already struggling to hold what they have as a conference because they had 2 huge losses. Losing FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, those are huge losses. So I say it makes more sense for the MEAC throwing in the towel this year because they weren't going to get a lot of exposure. And then you already are hurting with 2 defections leaving your Black College Football Conference. Now, there's a book called The Purpose-Driven Church, written by Rick Warren, who also wrote The Purpose-Driven Life. In that book, he says, you got to ride the wave that God sends you. Jackson State and the SWAC, they needed to ride the wave that God sent them by way of letting Deion Sanders come to the SWAC. There's no better way to ride that wave if you're the only show in college football going on. So it makes perfect sense for the SWAC to go on. Now, you guys are making light of ESPN 3. Can y'all tell me what other networks broadcasted black college football? Coach, I'm talking to you. I need you to pay attention to me right now, Coach.
I mean, I hear you.
No. I need eye contact because I was listening to you. I need eye contact right now. Tell me the network where they were playing black college football when the other big time schools were playing. Give it to me. All the eye contact and work. Just make sure you keep it on the eyes because last time you flashed us doing that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, we don't want that again.
We don't need you flashing us. So tell me, Coach, what network were they playing on otherwise?
You can't say BET.
Aspire. I mean,
That's what they were playing.
Huh?
But that's what they were playing on Aspire and those channels. But
again, so what's better, Aspire or ESPN 3?
I I say ESPN3, but let me ask you this, Rev. I know where you're going. I get your point. I get your point.
But is ESPN3 a garbage network? Because where can you view ESPN3? On the ESPN app. The ESPN app gets more views than any network that they've been playing college football, black college football.
I don't know, Rev. Peachtree TV got a little ahead of this.
That's local. That's local.
Man, I know. I'm just fair.
Come on, y'all poo-pooing on ESPN3, and they got major viewership.
Yeah, but you only get to stream it though. Yeah, I would be able to stream it.
How many people watching Aspire on cable TV versus streaming ESPN3?
I don't even know what channel Aspire.
Come on now. We all can view ESPN3 because I bet you all three of us got the ESPN app on our phones.
I watched Georgia Southern on it last week. Yeah,
exactly. Y'all, you can't. That's smart of the SWAC to have that kind of exposure because they weren't. I can't remember. They would play a black college football game on ESPN3 every now and then, but they're being intentional, and that's going to help us HBCU graduates. And I'm talking about me and Coach right now. And Red got some association with HBCU with his mom at Fort Valley State, but that's going to make us more inclined to at least want to watch it a little bit, because if you got a football Love Jones, you're going to say, let me just give it a try. That's just like what they did. That was the whole purpose of what Vince McMahon was trying to do with the XFL. He's like, I'm just trying to scratch the football itch that some people have. And really, what's it going to do, in my opinion, if they have a decent product, that's going to help with the Black College Bowl games going forward, because now you'll get more of a following watching these Black College games this spring when you're not competing against, I would rather watch Georgia against Alabama than Grambling and Southern, even though it's a great rivalry, but for the quality of football play, I'm watching that game. They don't have to compete against those programs now because they've already played their season. So I think it's a win-win for the SWAC, not the MEAC, all because of the Deion Sanders factor. Now go ahead and ask me your question.
But my thing is this though, Red. I'd said the ESPN3 thing, okay, but I'm looking at a loss of money as far as fans and lack of participation. And is it worth putting on a game where you're gonna lose money by not having as many fans in the game? And then I understand the exposure, but is it worth that money to lose? I mean, like I say, you're losing money and you're losing some things in the season. And that was one of the reasons I believe that Alcorn opted out, because they were like, well, why should we lose money participating in this spring league? We can wait till the fall.
All right, you may be losing money, but you're gaining exposure that could ultimately help you with the money. Because now what's happening, remember what Deion has done is he's getting a lot of these guys who may be playing normally at big-time programs to transfer. So now you may be positioning your team to make some money down the line by saying, hey, some of these schools might want to schedule you big-time schools later on in the fall the following year. And you can make some more money because you got some players that some other schools may want to play against that could give you some exposure. So I don't know if they're making a contract off ESPN3, but the exposure alone is good for recruiting purposes. You might lose a little bit this year, but there may be a lot to gain in the years to come. So it's worth the exposure. I get it. Black college football is more about college bands than they are about the actual game. I get that, because the Battle of the Band, it draws more attention than the actual football game. But if I'm able to get exposure and not competing with any of the other teams in like the ACC and the SEC and so forth, so on, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And Kelly saying JSU is not going to play the new recruits. Yeah, because it's still in the calendar year of 2020, 2021. So they're not really eligible to play. So that's why they have to wait till the 2021, 2022 school year. So that makes sense.
I definitely think Dion is gonna help bring some notice to Jackson State. I definitely would be surprised if they have a few national games themselves. Just with the fact that Dion is the head coach, that'll probably get him on a few ESPN games, ESPN2 games. Might even get him playing a top-notch school or invitation to play a top-notch school because of the Dion factor. So, I think Jackson State might be the first school to take advantage of, the exposure, and we'll hopefully see how things come from that. But I think having Dion at Jackson State is definitely going to put them on the map.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, it may hurt them too, because some big-time programs going on may not want to play Jackson State because they got more to lose in the game if they would lose a game to Jackson State. So that can be the dicey situation. I think they'll play Jackson State as long as they know they got the much superior team than Jackson State. But you mess around and say, for instance, you're Georgia, Alabama, you lose to Jackson State, that's a tough pill to swallow. You can't bounce back from that.
It's gonna happen because Dion gonna get some athletes down there. So one of these schools is gonna take a loss to Jackson State in the near future. Don't be surprised. Watch, wait for it.
All right, yeah. Now, Coach, there is a game. There are going to be several games on ESPNU. Is that better?
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule now. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 games that are going to be featured on ESPNU, and Mississippi Valley State will be in none of them.
You see, there it go again. The shots keep firing.
I love you, Coach. I love you, man.
I'm not going to address your infidelity. I'm gonna pull the Trump card and abstain from any comments that may be recorded on this broadcast that may be in a detriment to what I am portraying as a person.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you going high when I'm going low. I see you're listening to Michelle Obama's lesson. I hear you, Coach. All right, gentlemen, let's shift gears right quickly as we start moving toward the fourth quarter, end of the show. It's that time. We got to talk a little basketball right here. Let's get ready to talk a little basketball. Now, Red, we're talking basketball, not beach, man. You up here looking like you ready to be on the beach, man. We're talking basketball, not the beach, man.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
All right, gentlemen, let's start off talking about James Harden. James Harden fought so hard to get out of Houston, and now he got this Anita Baker spirit. I apologize. What are your thoughts about James Harden apologizing the way he left out with the Houston Rockets? Coach, I'm going to go first because that was your team last year. I think the Wizards are your team this year, even though
oh my God,
to talk about. But go with it, man. What are your thoughts about his apology to the Rockets?
What's the word? Save face. I guess that's what you call. You want to save face and make yourself seem like you this sympathetic figure. All the while, you apologizing because you want to, and I hate to say this on the broadcast, you want to come back to the strip clubs. That's all. You just want them to open back up and then readmit you and let you come back in. You just want to be able to come back to Houston and be able to eat at the Turkey Hut and everywhere. You trying to apologize now when earlier you made a statement that you have never backed down from. This team can't win the NBA championship. You said that out of your own mouth, James Harden. Well, at one time that preceded your exit. Now you with the other two Gunners, and now all of a sudden you want to try to say I apologize, Houston, for leaving. No, you don't. It's just like you said, Anita Baker tour all over again. I apologize. Whatever.
All right, Red, your thoughts about James Harden says sorry for how he left Houston Rockets. He
Sound
said,
like
I don't like it at all. Listen to what he said now. I should have said this before, Coach. These are his quotes. I don't like it at all because that's not who I am. The drama, the extra, whatever you want to call it, the negative for me, I don't really like negative energy that's draining, so I don't like how it necessarily happened. Last quote, I feel like it could have happened a lot sooner, a lot easier, but it is what it is. What are your thoughts, Rick? Those are quotes, direct quotes from James Harden from ESPN.
Coach, you got something to say on
ESPN3.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm asking you, Red, what are your thoughts about what?
Oh no, I know. I just wanted to give Coach a little moment to get his thoughts out. He was busting up laughing over there. What I think about it, man, typical James Harden, man. I apologize, dude. You sounding like one of Anita Baker's old boyfriends when they apologized to her after they went out and got them a new girlfriend and they all happy in a new relationship now. That's all James Harden doing. He's one of these. He's one of these old. He's like one of the old boyfriend and girlfriends who gave us lots of drama. Drama here, drama there. Now they don't went out and got a new boo thing. Now they all happy with their new boo thing. Now they want to call us up and say, hey, you remember all that drama I took you through? My bad. I apologize. I hope we all good. Nothing personal, right? Yeah, you'll do that once you all in a new relationship. But James Harden, you are so full of it, dude. Save it. Save it and shove that apology right up your bearded, you know what, okay? Like I said, you are full of it, man. One of Anita Baker's ex-boyfriends had a better apology than this is right here, man. Look, you just happy you out of town, and you want to make sure they ain't holding no grudges. That's why you want to make sure everything all good. But we all know you all happy in your new relationship. So please stop looking back in the past and just go on with your future.
All right, man. I'm gonna leave it at what you all had to say. I don't really have much to say about James Harden. His apology. He did what he needed. He felt he needed to do to get out. He accomplished his mission. Maybe he's trying to set it up where they will welcome him back towards the end of his career, so that they could ultimately retire his jersey or something like that. So he doesn't want to burn that bridge all the way down, but he definitely has burned it with the current players on that roster, the way he handled himself and just the way he messed over Paul's brother Silas. Paul Silas was his father. I can't remember his name, first name.
Steven
Silas. Yeah. He messing over that guy, and he's doing a decent job for what they have. So maybe he just, trying to save face, and may have got some backlash on how he treated Houston, especially a first-time black coach. That may not have sat well with some players, and maybe they said, look, man, you need to correct this. But whatever it is, I don't really put much weight into James Harden apologizing. Let's move on, gentlemen, and let's go to Reds Lakers. Now, my mother said earlier she gave King James a bunch of props for winning 3 games this week. Now, mind you, 2 of those games were in overtime against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are not any world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. Then last night, they come back from being down 20 to ultimately beat the Memphis Grizzlies by 10 points. I want to raise the question because they had to fight hard to beat both of those teams, and they got off to very, 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 very slow starts. So I'm going to pose this question to Red. Should there be any concerns with the Lakers after seeing what you saw this past week, winning 3 games, but having to come back against much inferior teams?
Well, Rev, when you put it like that, man, I got to tell you, man, absolutely not. No, Rev. There should not be any concern. The only thing that's going on here right now is that 1, fatigue, 2, boredom. That's all it is right now. It seems we're still fatigued because Lakers never really got their proper rest in the offseason. 2, Lakers are bored because especially when they play these sorry teams that they really don't want to get up for, but eventually they take care of business in the end. It's just typical Lakers, man. This ain't nothing. Look, these Lakers right here, even though I'm surprised to say it because I thought these LeBron Lakers would be different, but they are just like the Kobe Lakers back in the late 2000s. I mean, the 08, 09, 2010 Lakers, they used to do this every night. They play around with a sorry team, be down at halftime. I have some female company over to the house. They'll be dogging me out like, ooh, your Lakers, they about to lose. I thought your Lakers was all that. Look at them losing. And of course, I would tell my female company, look, babe, as long as we got Kobe in the game, we ain't never out of the game. Trust me, we're going to get back in this game and we're going to win. And usually we would get back in the game and Kobe would have one of those great second halves or monstrous fourth quarters. And the Lakers would have me looking pretty good. And of course, they would say they would definitely have me feeling pretty good because my female company would realize that, oh, I was right about my Lakers because I know my team, just like I know this team. I'm telling you, Rev, they just bore me. Look at the teams they played this week. You had Detroit, who they went to double overtime with last Saturday. You don't have OKC this week. You had Memphis, who was a little better team last night. But the Lakers just bored, right? Had this been one of these top teams in the NBA, I doubt you would have seen any of these performances because if you had, we would have lost them all. But like I say, the Lakers are bored. Once again, they just sit back. They just trying to coast through this regular season, trying to stay healthy and safe, trying to make sure all their pieces are going to be available when this second championship run begins again in a few months. They're bored. They get down early. They don't really have any passion, but eventually they realize that, hey, we're not about to lose to this team. We're going to win. I've seen this story before, and I've seen it end with a championship. I can't guarantee how this season's going to end, but I'm just telling you, I've seen this story play out before. Fatigue, boredom, I can't attribute to nothing else.
All right, Coach, I'm going to ask you the same question. Should there be any concern with the Lakers? We know that Red is a diehard Lakers fan. I know you don't share that same fandom for the Lakers, so you may have a more of an objective approach to this question. So should there be any concern?
Sure there is. I mean, just looking at it though from the outside, you have they've been anointed as the champs for the season already. But, you know, the thing about it is you look at, does that complacency come back to get you in certain games and later on down the season? Now, I'm going to use an example of what happened to a team way back. There was this young lady. She was like LeBron. She was all everything. And they played her every game, played her the whole game, just played her. And then got to the championship and she got in foul trouble and she came out and the opponent saw her come out and they stepped their game up and they ended up beating that team that was supposed to win because the star player was out. What I'm trying to say is you look at teams, I still don't understand why. And I guess it's just a side note. Certain players have to play so long in the games when they play in these teams. If these teams are just that bad, why do they play so long? Why not get them out of the game and preserve them for down the line instead of making them play 30, 40 minutes a game? I might be seeing something different.
But if you're getting down by 20 points, you got no choice.
Huh?
Like you get down by 20 points. The Lakers this week, and this is the reason why we're bringing up this subject, the Lakers were down to Oklahoma City in both games by double-digit points, some 20 points. They started off yesterday's game down 22-2. So when you're down that many points, you can't put LeBron on the bench and only play him 25 when you fight to get back in the game the rest of the game. So that's the reason for the question.
He left the game once it was pretty much secure. I saw him and Anthony Davis. They went to the bench about a couple of minutes left in yesterday's game. And that's surprising seeing how that game started out, that LeBron and AD were resting before the game was even over with. Boy, that third quarter was monster. That was appreciate that. We need
I guess
all.
my point.
Sorry, Coach.
I guess my I guess my point is, should you have to struggle like that against a team that's not a contender?
Right. That's the point that I want to get to. And this is where I think, Red, you got to be careful by being so emphatic with the no, there's no concern. First of all, we still know that AD is not Batman. He's a great robber.
Oh, no.
AD does not have that fire to
Lord
really put the team on his back to say, this is my team, and they follow my lead. He's not that guy. LeBron is that guy. The problem is what helped LeBron last year was they had 3 months off. Let's not forget about that. They had 3 months off before they went into the bubble. So LeBron was able to rejuvenate. He's not going to get 3 months off this year. And if you sitting up here expending all of this energy trying to get back in a game against inferior talent, that's wearing him down in particular. I'm more so concerned about him than anybody else on the team because the Lakers go as LeBron goes, period. If LeBron is expending all of this energy in his 17th year in the league trying to come back against the Oklahoma Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies, that does not bode well for him being at full strength when it's playoff time. And because right now the Jazz and the Clippers are on their heels and they only have a 72-game season, you really can't sit LeBron and rest him because every game is precious and you want the top seed. Home court advantage, I guess, means something if they're going to still play the games at their respective home arenas. So, yeah, the Lakers may be just screwing around, as Vincent may be saying, but that can cost them in particular with LeBron because he's already coming off a short offseason. Now, you playing these games, spend all this energy, and if LeBron is not at tip-top shape in the playoffs, it's going to cost them. So that's why I would say the Lakers need to step it up early in the game, bring energy to the game so LeBron can be chilling the entire fourth quarter because there's no reason that they should be allowing some teams to just hang around and then they finally beat them at the end. Because what they did with Oklahoma City Thunder going overtime with Oklahoma City Thunder twice, that's unexcusable. And that kind of stuff can catch up to them later on down the line. Red, feel free to share anything you want to say after that.
No, you make a valid point. Definitely that 3 month absence point. I had to get that some second thought. You're right. that did help us tremendous. We definitely had a nice little vacation before we got ready to restart our playoff run. So thinking about that, coming down the later stretch of the season, Frank Vogel's going to have to be definitely creative with his minutes and definitely have to go and be looking out for the long-term plan because you're right. We definitely got championship plans. And I mean, I'm with you now. I don't think we should definitely be wasting all this energy because LeBron ain't a young man no more. Even though that dunk he did last night, that guy should not be dunking like that in year 17, man. I mean, but man, I'm glad I'm not hating on him like I was, because boy, it'd be tough to be hating on him with some of these performances he's having lately. So I'm kind of glad he's doing it for my team instead of another team. But you're right. I really don't want us exerting all of this additional energy for teams like Oklahoma and the Detroits and the Memphises or the Minnesotas of the NBA. So you're right. We're gonna have to get better at starting the games. So we won't have to use so much energy to come back and make it a game. Right. But I'm sure we'll figure it out, man. We talking about King LeBron. He'll figure this out. We'll have the troops ready. We know what the goal is, long-term goal, and that's ring number 18 for the Lakers. So I'm gonna have faith in my boys that they'll get it together. They'll figure out what needs to be done, and hopefully we'll be there when we need to be there. But you're right. These additional minutes aren't helping our needs in the East. So AD already have Achilles problems, so he's just coming back from a 2-game absence. So you're right. These early bad starts aren't helpful, and we definitely need to play better to start.
And the way they can play better, and this is really on LeBron too. He can stop turning the ball over so much. I mean, he's been experimenting and just trying to thread needles and everything like that. And then he'll just try to force the ball into AD. And Lord knows, it's hard for me to watch AD play getting pushed all the way out to the 3-point line as a 7-footer, man. My
God. Did you see that move that Ja Morant put on him last night? I mean, just straight went by AD like he was a Statue of Liberty. I'm like, man.
Now, but we must remember, Ja Morant ain't no slouch, though.
I know I ain't no slouch, but AD all beam mugging him, all standing over him like he just had that play. Nah, AD, you weren't ready for that play, dog. So you can't be mean mugging and standing all tall like that if you're gonna let the guy blow right by you for an easy layup. And the answer, Ethan Wilson. Yeah, he's the claim when he's turning the ball over. Yeah, he's gonna be the claim.
Ja Morant is that dude in the NBA, but he's definitely that dude in NBA 2K1. If you need a player that just killing, get Ja Morant on your team. I killed with him in 2020. All right, let's move on. Real quick.
Be mad at me if I did that.
Last subject, and then we're gonna call it a day and do our "You Have the Right to Do What, When, Where, and How." Trae Young gets fined after he doesn't get a call against the Dallas Mavericks at the end of the game. He goes and cusses the ref out, and he gets fined, and that added on to the Hawks' struggles for they loss against the Mavericks as well as the Spurs last night. So I'm gonna start with Red. I'm gonna start with Coach this time. Coach, your thought about Trae Young getting fined and then the Hawks' struggles.
I guess you would say it's more of a frustration thing now that they have sunk, I guess, below 500. Now he's getting frustrated what's going on, and he feels like, I don't know, in the back of his mind, does he feel like he's a superstar and he's supposed to get some calls and some other things? Maybe I didn't see the actual call, but I guess he feels like he should be getting some calls too. And the Hawks have hit that wall some kind of way as far as playing, so they may need to have like a little team meeting or something, or somebody to shake this off, because you were playing well, you were doing good. Now all of a sudden the wall has come up and you don't know where you're going. So that might be more of a frustration thing out of Trae Young.
Red, your thoughts on your team, your secondary team.
I'm glad you said it, secondary team. They don't deserve to be primary team. Trae Young just going through simple for Trae Young, and unfortunately for my house, Trae Young is suffering through a little man syndrome right now, and that definitely was. I'm serious, real. That definitely was going on with him the other night when he got all up in that real space, dude. You got pretty much pumped like a little rag doll by Willie Cauley-Stein on that screen. They pretty much treated you like you weren't out there because you're so little. You hit the ground, and instead of getting up quickly and trying to set yourself up for a shot, you want to get up and cry around and pout, and then and let Gallinari take that whack shot to end the game, and then want to go over to the ref and start getting all up in his face. Dude, Trae, come on, man. Eventually, you're going to have to man up now. You're a little man. You don't have that much size. You got to realize that about your game. Now, maybe Coach Lloyd Pierce maybe shouldn't have had you screening, but we're a little bit later. But Trae Young just suffering from a little man syndrome. He's out there, a little man playing amongst a lot of giants. Now he still is putting up his numbers, but he's still a little man playing amongst a lot of giants, and it caught up with him at the end of the game the other night when he was embarrassed that Willie Cauley-Stein knocked him to the ground, and he wasn't in position to get off a last-minute shot to tie or win the game. And as far as the Hawks struggles, well, right now we still young, we still having injury issues right now. We up and down, really inconsistent, kind of a roller coaster team right now in the Eastern Conference. But no matter what, Rev, I know you like the guy, but I keep telling you, at the end of the day, Lloyd Pierce is gonna take whatever blame needs to be accessed as far as this season or what we don't do. Lloyd Pierce will take the blame. So, like I say, the Hawks go as far as trying. I like John Collins has been playing good lately, so the Hawks pretty much go as far as their depth takes them. Obviously, they're missing Hunter for a while, and Cam Redis's really been disappointing me some this year. Not really playing, not really taking advantage of the minutes he's been given while Hunter's been out. So the Hawks got a lot of issues they got to work through right now. But if they don't work them out and find themselves in this playoff run, Lord Pierce, you'll find yourself on an unemployment run come next season. So whatever the issues are, Hawks better get together and Trey on. You're gonna have to overcome your little man syndrome, buddy. Got the time to step up to the plate, man up, realize you're not the biggest player out there. So you probably don't want to be setting those screens on players like Willie Cauley-Stein. And that being said, Hawks better figure it out. We're gonna have some issues with Coach soon. So Rev, I'll pass it over to you.
Well, let me say this real quickly. Trae Young needs to realize he's not a superstar in this league. As my high school coach, Coach John Otis, would say this: Trae Young has accomplished nothing in the NBA. Nothing in the NBA. He didn't win Rookie of the Year. I don't think he's been an All-Star yet.
Yeah,
He was All-Star last year.
Who, Trae Young?
Last year. It must have been
Yeah,
last.
he started the All-Star game last year.
One All-Star game. You know, he hadn't made all first team or second team. So he's been recognized in the all-hype team. But that hype has not come to any level of accomplishment. So he doesn't have the cachet to be going up in front of a referee and cussing a ref out. Like The Rock would say, know your role, Trae Young. You're not on that. You're not LeBron James. You're not Kawhi Leonard. Doggone, you're not even playing Paul George yet. Calm down, bro. And the pick wasn't even that hard. It wasn't even that egregious. And like Vincent Woodruff said, he needs to hit the weight room. While he's working on his jump shot, hit some weights. Get stronger. Because long term, he's not going to be able to withstand many more years in the league because he's too light. Yeah. Now, going to the Hawks struggles, I think Ethan Wilson hit it in the head. And I tried to say this on Red's post, and one of your guys was trying to give me the blues.
Oh, yeah, I saw that little debate.
The bottom line is the Hawks have not played with their full roster. The Hawks were designed to allow their depth to help them be a contender or a team to be reckoned with. When you take any chinks out of this team's armor, they are not as productive as they were built to be. They were built to be off depth, as the Lakers are built off of two superstars. You have the Nets now are built on three. I'll say two superstars, one star who thinks he's a superstar. Because Kyrie Irving, I'm not giving him superstar status. But anyway, you take one of those guys off, they're struggling. The Nets don't have a bench. So they are built upon those three superstars. The Hawks don't have a superstar. Trae Young is a star. Collins could be a star. But what was going to make them competitive is having the bench. They got Bogdanovic for a reason. They were hoping Cam. They were hoping Hunter will all be in the mix. They were hoping you got Chris Dunn, Rondo. They were hoping those guys were going to add to the depth. They did not expect playing Chris Goodwin and what's my man, the forward who be jacking up all the threes?
Solomon Hill.
They weren't in the equation.
Well, that dude need a haircut, man.
Lord, he need a haircut, but he don't need to be playing that many minutes. If you got him playing 8 to 10 minutes and Chris Goodwin playing 8 to 10 minutes, then that you know there's a shortage of talent on the team. None of those guys. Neither one of those. Neither one of those guys need to be playing those type of minutes. So until the Hawks get their depth in place, it's hard for me to grade Lloyd Pierce because their team is not built off superstar. Like
Right.
they realized Trey and John Collins would not be enough for them to be successful. So therefore, they had to get depth, and they did a good job spending money. But we know that really they wasted money on Gallinari because Gallinari is only going to play half the season. You already know that. So that was a waste of money. And then Bogdanovic gets paid. He's like, man, I'm chilling. You know? So Lloyd Pierce has his hands tied because he doesn't have the team that he was supposed to have, the depth that he was supposed to have. If you put Cam out there with the depth that you were supposed to have, Cam looks better.
Yeah.
Like when they started at the beginning of the season, when they had most of their pieces in place, except for Okongwu, Cam looked like a different player. But now without those extra pieces out there, he's being exposed. So that's why I'm saying it's hard to be really on Lloyd Pierce all the way together when the team, as they constructed the team, is not the team that they expected to compete. That's all I got to say.
Well, I hope eventually that the team we get most of our pieces back because if not, Nate McMillan gonna be coaching this team in the playoffs and not Lloyd or definitely next season because like I say, I just know Lloyd gonna get the blame for any faults that we have this year. But and Coach, we don't need no more team meetings after that Trey and John Collins fiasco. And we don't have enough of them. They just need to play better. They need to play more consistently. And we need, like I say, we need to get some of these injured players back. That Bogan injury, that's hurting us.
Yeah.
Hunter, I didn't realize how big a bigger injury this Hunter injury was gonna be because we really missing him. I ain't seen Cam drop 30 points in the game. I saw Hunter drop 33 points on the good team. So it's looking like Hunter's gonna be the guy that's gonna be with us long term, and Cam might be the odd man out. And I thought it would be the other way, but it's looking like when trade time comes, Cam look like you gonna be on the block instead of Hunter. Because man, if you give me Hunter, Collins, and Trey with Capella, I'll take that over Reddish, Gallo, and some of these other guys doing. You right, good with playing too many minutes. Rondo, even though I'm not surprised Rondo not there, because Rondo usually takes most of the season off. He usually don't be ready until playoff time come. But we got to get to the playoffs for Rondo's effectiveness to shine. And if we don't get to
I've been reading some reports that they're planning on trading Rondo at the trade deadline.
Oh my God! Well, then we done. Then if they trade Rondo at trade deadline, we ain't trying to win because he was gonna be a vital piece to us in the playoffs. What's you gonna pick up Rondo for? Who's known to be playoff Rondo? If he's not gonna be on the team come playoff time, where they gonna trade him to? Oh, they trade him back to the Lakers.
Well, we'll see, but it's gonna be interesting. Last question, then we're gonna get into you have the right. So we know that the Hawks have a lot of young players. It seems like Hunter is part of their future. Now, when it comes to Cam Reddish, and Cam Reddish was drafted the year after Kevin Huerter, which one would you want to keep, Huerter or Reddish?
Oh, Huerter all day long. Huerter's become a valuable piece to the rotation. His shot is becoming more consistent. His defense, his playmaking ability is becoming more consistent. Sometimes when we not balling, he's the best player on the floor sometimes. And I can't believe I'm saying this so much that I'm giving Huerter more minutes on NBA 2K now because of the way he balls. So if I had to choose right now who I'm keeping, Huerter or Reddish, see you later, Cam.
Okay. Now, last thing, y'all probably know my boy Sam Ralph on Facebook.
Yeah.
Y'all know what he calls Kevin Huerter?
Oh yeah, the Red Rooster, not the Red Rooster.
No, not Red Rooster. He called him Red Velvet. Red Velvet.
Yeah. Okay. Red Velvet.
All right, gentlemen. Let's close the show on out where you have the right. This is our time to say who has a right to do what, when, where, and how during this weekend or in the week to come. So who wants that at first? Who has the right to do what, when, where, and how?
Coach, I'll let you go with it first. I'm trying to think of who I had here.
I had somebody on my. Oh yeah, Armani Newsom. You have the right to read the fine print before you talk about your cousin Colin Sexton, who you said made the All-Star team, and he's 7th in voting in his own group of players, point guards or whatever. Yeah, he's 7th in the vote. You had the right to read a little more before you say he's an All-Star. I was waiting on that. That's what I forgot about. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Why did I was gonna bust Armani out where you said, like, you put up in the chat, you know, y'all said he wasn't gonna be an All-Star. Now I never said it, but I was looking, I was like, Armani, he's in 7th place. The only people who guarantee a spot are the first 2 spots, top 2 vote getters. So if he's number 7, it ain't looking good for him right now. But nevertheless, that was interesting. I just left that conversation to you all. All right, Red, who has the right to do what, when, where, and how? Go ahead.
Well, Armani, you got a right to hear what coach is saying and take it under advisement, dude. That dude got a lot of players ahead of him. But anyway, the Braves, you got a right to come into the spring training next week with a championship mindset intact and get ready to take down the Dodgers this year, because to me, it's World Series of bust, baby. We got the team, we got the players, we ready, and we need to do it. So the Braves, you have a right to start spring training with a championship mindset.
All right, and I might say he forgot how it went his bad. He forgot. he forgot. All right, we'll give you a pass.
He thought Colin was the All-Star game starter.
Well, I'm gonna say that the Atlanta Hawks have a right to make the playoffs, hold on to one of those lower positions. They have a right to get healthy. They have a right to utilize their depth once they get healthy to make that playoff run that they need to be making. They should be in the playoffs this year, because when they're healthy, not too many teams in the East should be better than the Hawks. So you have the right to get your acts together, get healthy, make the playoffs, and hopefully we'll start seeing that move towards health and winning ball games so that they can make the playoffs beginning this coming week. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's give one more shout out to my auntie, if you don't mind showing the picture again. We dedicated episode 176 to my aunt Jacqueline Huey, who passed away earlier this week. So just giving her another shout out. We love you, Aunt Jackie. We miss you. Love you forever, Aunt Jackie. Appreciate that, Rev.
Great. Red and his family in the passing of his aunt. We thank God for her life, and we thank God for what she meant to Red. Obviously, she meant a lot to Red for him to want to dedicate the show to her. We pray for Red's family, pray for their strength and comfort. And we pray for all families who are losing loved ones left and right, for there have been so many deaths that have taken place and for so many different reasons. So we pray for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Vince, you know who we were missing today? Maurice Thrower. He had a little sports injury this week.
Oh, no, man. We pray for his healing, man.
And basketball.
You know, he was the one that went after the fan. You know, the one that dived after the fan, that was Maurice.
That's funny, man. That is funny, man. All right, gentlemen. Well, that's going to put a bow on this week. Thank y'all so much for hanging out. Episode 176. 177, we're coming back to you next week. Same time, same Facebook page, YouTube channel, Periscope channel. Tell somebody about the Red Rev Sports Show featuring Coach. And thank y'all for showing Red some love. We'll holler at y'all next week. And we're out of here.